This video is sponsored by Naked Wines. We are going to be making some pizza. And today we have to get a few things ready. We have to get our dough ready, we have to get our sauce ready, and we have to get our pistachio pesto ready. Because this is going to be a meatball pistachio pesto pizza. Now, several of these things we're getting ready the day ahead because the pizza dough really comes out nice if you let it ferment, cold ferment in the refrigerator at least a day. Sometimes up to 3 days, but we're going to be doing 1 day for this one. Now, the meatballs I already have made. They're left over from a previous video, and I'll link that in the video description. And that's a great way to use leftover meatballs because you can just break them up and use them to top the pizza. But let's get started on our dough. Now, in my stand mixer here, I'm going to add 500 grams of all-purpose flour. To this, I'm going to add 7 grams of instant yeast. This is not active dry yeast that you need to bloom in water first. It's ready to go. And I'm just going to run my mixer for a minute here just to kind of blend those together. Now I'm going to add 13 grams of kosher salt. And now I'm going to start adding 350 grams of sort of above room temperature water. It's kind of not hot, not cold. And I'm going to do this while my mixer is going on low speed. I'm going to increase the speed now to kind of medium-low. I just want to kind of scrape the sides down here and get that flour that's hanging up on the edges down to where the liquid is. I'm going to give it another little scrape here. And I'm just going to run this on medium or medium-low, depending on how it's looking, until we have a nice cohesive dough ball. Now I just want to pull a piece here and see it's pulling apart. And in a high hydration dough, that's not uncommon, but I'm going to let it go a little bit more, and I'm going to add about maybe tablespoon of flour just to kind of bring that back from that stage of too wet. If it seemed too dry, I can add a little bit of water. I'm going to let this knead for about 3-4 minutes, and then we're going to turn this out onto the counters. I want to get a little flour on my countertop here. I'm going to turn my dough out onto this. What I want to do here is I just want to kind of work this into a ball on my floured surface here by tucking the bottom under. You see, like right there, we're just trying to get that side into a nice, tight pinch there. It's looking good. Now I've got a bowl here. I'm just going to slide my ball to the side for a second. I'm going to put a little olive oil in here. Kind of rub that around. As our dough rises, we don't want it to stick too much. It's in there, and just kind of use some of that oil from your hands to rub it on the top. I'm going to cover my bowl, and I'm going to put it in kind of a warm spot. If you have a proof function on your oven, that's a great thing for this, but if you don't, just put it in a kind of a sunny spot, or if your oven's been on for a while, kind of set it next to it. And we're going to let this rise for probably about 2 hours. See you back here in a couple hours. So our pizza dough's been rising for 2 hours. Let's take our cover off and see how we did. I would say we got a pretty good rise there. Now, because I'm going to be dividing this into 3 dough balls for 3 separate pizzas, I'm only going to be making 1 for the video, but I want to see how much dough we have here. So we're going to weigh this. Now I know that the bowl, when it's empty, weighs 1,765 grams. So I'm just gonna weigh it here and subtract that amount. So we are at 2638. So some quick subtraction, in which I totally did not use the calculator on my phone, gives us 873 grams. And if we divide that by 3 again without using any calculator, it's 291 grams. So somewhere around 290 grams is the size of dough ball that I'm gonna make. I'm just gonna put some parchment paper on my scale here. We'll zero that out and we'll just start and see how close we get. A little over there. Tiny pinch more off of there. 292 looks good to me. Now what I want to do is I want to form this into a dough ball just like we did before by pinching it all in. We've got some olive oil on there, so we really don't need any flour to keep it from sticking. If it sticks a little, that's okay, but I'm just going to work it into that tight little package there. And I have an individual dough container for this, for proofing, that I've pre-oiled with some olive oil. I'm gonna take that, pop it in there, get our lid on. Then that will sit out for about half an hour before going into the refrigerator overnight. Measure out our second dough ball. $290, I'll go with that. So like I said, these are going to sit here for about half an hour, then they'll go in the refrigerator, and then we'll move on to making our other components for tomorrow. But before we get to that, I want to tell you a little bit about the sponsor of today's video, Naked Wines. Naked Wines connects you with the world's best independent winemakers, cutting out the middleman so you can enjoy amazing wines delivered straight to your door for up to 60% less. Your membership, along with more than 300,000 others, allows winemakers to do what they do best: craft top quality wines without expensive sales markups common to the marketplace. You get better wine for your dollar, and Naked Wines will even tailor recommendations for you based on your ratings, like your own personal sommelier. Shop on your terms with no tie-ins or hidden fees. And if you order through the link in the video description, you'll get $100 off your first case of wine. Thanks again to Naked Wines for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. We're going to start by making our sauce. Now, we also are going to have a pesto, but I want some of that brightness from a tomato sauce. We're not going to spread it all over the pizza. We're going to strategically place it. And I'm just going to mix it in my deli container here. This is a really simple sauce. And we're starting with a 14-ounce can of crushed tomatoes. I want this to be nice and chunky and rustic. Next up, a tablespoon of dried basil, a tablespoon of dried oregano, a teaspoon of kosher salt, and about 2 teaspoons of crushed garlic. We're gonna get down in here and just mix everybody together. And this is just gonna refrigerate overnight as our dough ferments in the refrigerator. A little taste. That's perfect. That's gonna be just right on this pizza. All right, lid's going on, it's going in the refrigerator, and we're gonna move on to making our pistachio pesto. First ingredient we're gonna get ready are our pistachios. Now these are some lightly salted roasted pistachios removed from the shells, and I wanna crush these. I wanna get these into much smaller pieces for our pesto. Put these in a Ziploc bag here. Mostly seal it, just a little bit so some air can get out, and I'm gonna crush these with a rolling pin. Turn this over so we can see better. They don't all have to be completely ground down into a powder. That's not what I'm looking for. This is a rustic pesto after all. Let's see how we're looking there. That looks pretty good to me. A lot of very small, almost powdery bits, and some bigger chunks. This will work well. All right, let's get our basil ready. Now I have about 2 cups of basil leaves here, and I'm not going to process these in a food processor or a blender or anything like that. This is a rustic pesto, so we're just going to chop these up. I like to kind of gather it into a tight pile to start, and they're Will be pieces flying all over, so you can just cut those after. Just start working it. Just pile the uncut leaves on top and keep cutting. Pesto is a great use for, if you see this basil leaf is starting to discolor a little bit after a while when they get older. If you've got basil leaves like that, they're great for pesto. Most of these are just fine. There's only a few like that, but I've used them like that before and they're great. I love things that are rustic because if you sort of decipher that, it means don't worry too much about how perfect it looks. It's still going to taste great. And that basil looks great for our pesto. Let's get it into a bowl. Now we're going to add our crushed pistachios. We're also going to add half a cup of really finely grated Parmesan cheese, a 1/4 teaspoon of kosher salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of some ground black pepper, and I'm going to start by adding a 1/4 cup of olive oil, and I can always add more. Just going to mix. It's better to start by adding less of the olive oil than too much. You can always add more, and I know I'll add more here, but it's good to get this mixed up. I'm going to add probably another 1/4 cup here. Again, this is a very rustic pesto. It's not a smooth one that's been through a blender. Let's get a little taste here, see how we're doing. I'm really liking that. Maybe just a touch more olive oil. That was maybe a tablespoon. All right, I'm going to transfer this to a container. It's going in the refrigerator, and tomorrow I'll see you back here when we start building our pizza. All right, my pizza oven is heated up outside. Now, if you don't have a pizza oven, you could do this in your oven. I would make sure you have either a pizza stone or a pizza steel in there. Crank it up to 500 degrees or as high as you can get to that. Let that steel or stone heat up for at least 20 or 30 minutes and then just do your pizza in there. Now, my dough has been sitting out for about 45 minutes to kind of come up to temp. Remember, it was in the refrigerator overnight, doing a nice cold ferment. I'm going to give this a little lift stretch here. And I'm going to transfer it to my peel. I like to build right on the peel. First thing I want to do is get some of our pesto on here. I'm just going to kind of distribute this around a little. It's going to be a multi-layered approach here to getting our ingredients on the pizza. And just so you know, I'm not a pizza expert at all. I just really like making pizza. I like my pizza oven to be probably in the 500 to 550 range outside, sometimes a little higher. I'm going to be cooking on the Gozney Arc XL. I bought that, I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, and I've been loving it. Now for some mozzarella, I'm using some shredded low moisture mozzarella. I'm going to do some dollops of our tomato sauce on here. Maybe a couple dollops of our pesto on top as well. Now for our meatballs. This is some broken up meatball that I smoked the other day. I think I mentioned that. I smoked it with pistachio wood, which is just really good. I've been liking it a lot. First time I've used it recently. I only started using it recently after my wood supplier gave me some to try. And I sure hope they can keep getting it because I really like it. A little bit of freshly grated Parmesan. Get a little around the edge near the crust. That's looking good. Let's get it out and into the pizza oven. We're going to slide our pizza in here. Need to keep an eye on those edges and turn as needed. looking good here. Just another quick turn here. That looks terrific. Let's get it inside and have a taste. Well, here is our pizza, and like with pizza, what's left to do but taste it? So let's cut in. Oh, nice crust there. Nice and airy. Cheers. I love a good meatball pizza. Let me tell you, when you make your own meatballs and you know what's going into them and you know the flavor you've already got, this is the way to do it. That combination of the pesto and the tomato sauce with kind of the expected tomato sauce flavor that you're getting on pizza, and that pesto with the crunch of the pistachios, killer. I just love how airy this crust is. Yeah, making pizza isn't always the easiest thing to do, but I have to be honest, it is probably my favorite thing to cook, because if you do it starting from the beginning, scratch dough, all your ingredients that you control, I mean, I'm not making my own cheese, but it just feels good to make it that way, and it tastes fantastic. And with our pizza today, we're pairing a Chardonnay from Schroeder Vineyards. If a Chardonnay can be both rich and light, this is it, and it's great. I'd like to thank Naked Wines once again for sponsoring this video and supporting my channel. And remember, if you order through the link in the video description, you'll save $100 off your first case.